All right, sorry about that. I had some other videos on there. I was shooting some videos for something else and thought I had enough room for a 50-minute video, but evidently I only had room for a 30-minute video. So, still playing Tour 7. I'm going to play for about 20 minutes, so 2 or 3 holes. Try and finish off a video here. Put out an hour video of Tour 7. I accidentally played 1-1 in Tour 8. That's how I got my trophy count up above 1677. Charlie, U.S. golfers. Not going to have any problems at all getting a match in Tour 7 right now. And the way that they do one-on-one play, as far as bracketing, is different than how they do in tournaments. So in tournaments, it's actually might be fairer. In one-on-one, and in one-on-one, it has nothing to do with clubs. It has to do with clubs and it doesn't, because the deal is if you're going out there and you're just trying to get on the green and get the minimum score, and you're not trying to go for it, you don't need all that ball guide. You don't need all that accuracy. You're just getting on the green and doing the thing. And so, like in a hole like this, a lot of people will epic fail. They'll put themselves behind trees and they'll put themselves in the sand and they'll give themselves a really tough shot to get on the green. And this is not an easy green to deal with when you're on the green. It's got so many moguls on it. So I come out here with my sniper. This is a sniper shot. This might be the only hole in the game that my one-on-one play is sniper. And so I just lay it up out in that fairway, and I don't really care where it goes out there. I set the shot up just because you want to build good habits. So like if you're using the wind ring method and you're learning the wind ring method, the deal is that you got to use the wind ring method. So I've seen comments before where people have said, it always cracks me up when those guys do the wind ring method on a drive. There are some drives there are some drives like max overpower hook shots, or some drives when you're hitting against you've got a tailwind behind you and you're trying to judge with the curl that you put on it. And so you're pulling it out max overpower and seeing like where it's going to go. You need every bit. This is a hole that you can easily win with sniper. It's amazing how many times I come to this hole and I win just with the sniper shot, where my opponent ends up going from the rough, because you know how it is in this game. You go from the rough to the rough, from the sand to the sand. And they're luckily on the fairway, so they're going fairway to fairway. We tend to stay in whatever we're playing in. I have a great sniper shot here, though. And I'm on the right-hand side of those moguls, so those moguls aren't in play for me. I have a little bit of movement. I could do a rough bump. There's a little bit of movement right down at the cup. There's 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna go about 7, 3, 7, 5, somewhere in that neighborhood. Hitting one ring great to the right. And I could do the backspin there. If you've got that level sniper right there has enough backspin, I could have just put on probably not quite max backspin and tried to bounce it up to the cup. It's not a bad way to go on that, because if you can get your bounces right, you can bounce over. There's 2 little depressions on that approach, and you can get over one of them with the backspin. But you can also do that rough bump if the wind's blowing the right way. If the wind's blowing along that rough bump, so that if you hit great to the left or the right, you still clip the rough and roll out and get up on the green, that's you want to take that shot. That rough bump gives you a good chance, and you can work it. But if you get on the hole and the wind's not blowing like that, then you want to be able to change your approach shot so that you can change it on the fly, and you go, okay, instead of using my sniper for the rough bump, I'm going to use my sniper for backspin, and I'm going to go right here. This is a hole that I'm definitely going to play different. I want to check my red lines here. So with my extra mile, and I'm playing from the second tee, there's my red line. So even if I brought out a bigger ball, I'm not going to be able to do a rough bump up here. going to try and do a rough bump with an extra mile. I'll have to put a little bit of curl on it in order to bring it back to the cup. Or a max club. Let's see if we got enough. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And I'm going to go a little over. I'm going to go all the way to 10. Isn't it perfect? We'll see if we can see if there's a rough bump there. There is a rough bump you could do there. If you brought out a bigger ball and you hit this from the pro tees, you could probably do that rough bump up there with like a rock or a quarterback, and you have a 100% accurate club going in there. It might be better to find a club that's like, you want one with lots of ball guide. Ball guide first. Then you have to adjust however much topspin or backspin it'll take. And it looked like it was backspin there in order to bring it back to the hole. So you have to worry. So you need a backspin one. Not sure what the Rocket gets like as far as ball guide. I know the Rocket gets backspin. That hole right there might lend itself to playing with a Rocket. Ball guide, backspin, accuracy. But it's not a bad deal on shots like that, especially if you're playing in pro. It's not a bad deal to play with a club that's too accurate. So that's why a Saturn works a lot, because the Saturn's too accurate. So it's 2 per ring. It's 1.9, but if you play it 2 per ring when you're playing one-on-one, you're going to end up in the right spot a lot. Good game. See if they'll rematch. Come on, man. Come on, dude. I'm working on gold chest, so I'm going to dig out another gold. So here at the end, there's no replaying here at the end. Usually in replays, the way it works is I will end up coming in as the loser and I'll win 2, or I'll come in as the loser and lose 1, and then they don't want to play anymore after that. Or man, this is a great hole to bring a bigger ball, especially against that wind. I'm just going to play with that. Bring out this bag right here. Let's put all that topspin on. I want to see what that'll do. See if I can. I'm going to see what the blast is with the big topper through the rough. I have no idea if that much against that big of a headwind will get me through the rough and just lay me up on the top. If I could get over to the other side. Nope, not enough. Have to bring out against a big headwind like that. Have to bring out a bigger ball or come at it with curl. Try and slice through that wind. You got to think of curl, I guess, is like sailing a ship. You know, you see those guys, if you watch any kind of racing at all that's out there, to people who aren't race fans, they look at racing and they go, you guys are just going in circles. But if you're a race fan and you understand the strategies involved in it, there's lots of strategy involved in different courses, whether it's an oval track or whether it's a road course track or what kind of track it is. So people are out there sailing, they'll tack against the wind, right? I don't know all of the ins and outs of it, but I know quite a bit from watching a lot of yacht racing. Not yacht racing, but America's Cup. All right. Let's not put myself in a bad spot. I brought the right club to do this shot right here. Let's get right up here and let's just do a layup. I'm not even going to move the wind out. I put myself in a spot where the wind's not going to matter whether it affects me or not, and I'll just lay it up over there. Okay, let's get back in the fairway. Let's stop this. Let's admit defeat. And let's see if my opponent, what their shot is. Let them make their own mistakes. I made a mistake and I'm recovering. We have 3 different ways that from that spot that I'm in right there, we have 3 different ways that I'll be able to come into this. This big topper's got a big dog, so I've got the biggest hitting club in the bag, so I could go up there and do a rough bump. If I can reach the rough, I could reach it with this club. My opponent just put themselves in the crapper, so I have a serious shot of recovering here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we don't need a lot of topspin here because we got crap ball guide, so we just kind of want to be going, and this got a huge backboard on it, so it's not going to blow past the realm of possibility. Big dog is 2 per ring, so 2, 4, 6, 7, 2. I'm just going to do a rough bump. Hit it 1 ring great to the right. Just floated up on the green. And do I care where it was out on the green? I would have loved for that to go in the hole. But when I'm playing one-on-one, I'm really kind of less concerned about it. It's kind of the fun part of the game. We spend a whole week trying to get ourselves in the hole. I mean, I want to set those shots up so I'm going through the motions, but I'm not ever upset when I'm playing one-on-one and I don't get that Albie or get that eagle on that par 4. As long as I got the minimum score and we go to a shootout, we're good to go. It always sucks when somebody comes out there and they beat you on it. So that's why you have to take it serious. But, it's not a big deal if it doesn't go in the hole. But when you're playing in a tournament, you're only playing for those holes. That minimum score thing is what you played during the week. Now you got to step up to the plate. And when you get that shot to the cup, you need to be in the right spot with the right equipment at the right angle so that you can do it. So the whole deal is you want to never have an epic fail on your minimum score. I'm getting some super lag here. Super lag. Damn. The thing was moving so joggy, it was like me typing on a typewriter. Forcing a shootout. That's the whole deal. I don't mind going to shootouts. You shouldn't mind going to shootouts. You don't get a lot of practice on those when you get on those holes, when you get on those par 3s, there's some of those par 3s that you may have to play different than what you do in a tournament. So you play from the other side. There's a lot of holes that if you watch me play them, I play them from a different side. Some of them, there's only one side that you want to play. But some of them have the other side, which you discount in a tournament, is the easy way, but you're only guaranteed to get an eagle. If you come the risky way over here, you could potentially get an Albie, or you could potentially pick up that eagle. And so you don't normally do that one-on-one. I'm not going to take the risk because if you epic fail out there, you'd put your eagle at risk. And so now you're looking at birdie and you just dropped 2 shots. You were going for Albie and you dropped a birdie. And so I always like it when I get on those holes and everybody plays to the side that can give them the Albie look, but that's difficult shots. And learn how to play the game on the other side of the course. That on the other side, a lot of times it's just about getting the minimum score. You need to know how to get the minimum score on this hole so that when you're on the deal where you're trying to get above the minimum score, it's not a big deal. All right, I got a back. Big dog. I want my second bounce to be right on that fringe. It's 2 per ring. I'm taking it right to the lip of the sand. And I hit it 2 rings great to the left, which is really bad. Really bad. If I don't end up in the sand, it'll be a miracle. You can't hit it. When you're going over that sand, anything that's going towards that sand right there, I'm sure that somebody out there could tell me exactly what the deal is on that sand or what the deal is with sand. But I will tell you that some sand traps that are out there are magnets, and that's one of them. All right, sorry about that. I keep running out of space, so I'll have to add right on. So I was talking about take I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. That was like an hour ago. That video stopped. Let's see if I can remember while it's opening up. I can't remember. All right, hold on. I'll go find out. All right. So when you come into those, if you start, let's say you first go up to Tour 5, and we'll just pick that as an example. You go to Tour 5. Let's talk about when you go to Tour 7 for the very first time. So if you haven't played Tour 7, there is the thing about bankroll management. So when you get to Tour 7, depending on your skill level, if you're an experienced player, you're going to know, like, as soon as you get to 300,000, you'll go out there and you're red hot and rolling. You just need a little bit of a stake because you're a 2 out of 3 player. So you're gonna jump up real quick, and then they won't matter. You're gonna just kickstart it. But if you're a new player, you want to go out there with a little bit of cash. And so when you're talking about the par 3s in Tour 7, like right now, and this is the deal. If you're normally playing in Tour 7 right now, this is where you normally live in Tour 7, and you haven't gone any higher, you need to get the hell out of Tour 7. I mean, you may go there and play super consistent. Just play the minimum score. Just play minimum score. And you'll be amazed at how much you'll beat people just playing minimum score. Don't get crazy. Don't try and match up with those people. Don't get caught up in the hype. Just go out there and win chests. This is where the real practice happens. So you can go out there and you can really practice. So this is a great week for pros. Anybody out there who plays a pro account, this is a great week. You can go out here and play these holes and really get on them. So we got a little bit of time here. We got like 20 minutes we can record on this video. But write down those holes that are in there. So like right now there's 3 different courses in there. So there's 9 shootouts. And just print out a page. You see them going around the community for the tournaments where they've got those page setups. I don't know where that template comes from. But you could put those 9 holes in there, those 9 par 3s for that tour you're playing, and just make some scribble notes. Like when you're on that hole, so that you can try and remember those holes. One of my teammates, Terry, he names all of the par 3s so that he can remember what they are. And then later when he runs into them again, he has a name for them. There's some holes that I have names for just because they look like some creature. They're using a 3 Powerball, so I can bring out the Titan, the king of balls. And we can put the Titan against this baseball and see what can get done. Bring some 5-win ball out at me. I've got some Titans, so I'm gonna. If my opponent's playing with a bigger ball, if I go first, I'll play with a Marlin. But if my opponent's playing with a bigger ball, let's bring out a bigger ball. There's 5. Puts me about 2.5 rings into power. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I got enough overpower on there to make the bridge the gap. And it'll get the scoot, and then it'll go down towards the end. Now, hopefully, I'm in my sniper range, and I can do a rough bump, and I can give myself an excellent shot. So my opponent wanted to bring out a big ball so we can play this hole more like we would in a tournament because we brought out a bigger ball. So we can go at it just like we would in a tournament. The only variable we'll have is wind. So we're going to have a side wind here, and they've got a low wind ball, so they have an advantage. But having to come out with a sniper, they'll have to double hop this hole. So they can do a rough bump. If they hit more up where I'm at, they can go at the hole. If you have a Guardian, it's got a huge backboard on it. You can do a backspin shot on it, but you can do the rough bump. That's the best way to come at this hole. And the wind's blowing. You can see the big backboard. And the wind's blowing such that it's actually, the rough bump is the way to go. I like this hole. You can make this hole. This is a hole that can be beat. I'm not sure how much backspin to put on. I usually dial that stuff up. I don't even look at it. I have no idea right now how much I put on there. We're going to see if it's right. 5-5. That was 6-5, so I moved it a little too much. Hitting it perfect. I actually think I moved it half a ring too little. And that was the half a ring right there, too little. It's supposed to be 5-5. I moved it 4 rings. That's 4. So it would have been 4.5 rings would have been 5, and then a little bit for the 5. Bad wind adjustment. Still got me close though. And the goal going in is to get an eagle. Is this an eagle or a birdie? I think this might be a birdie. Whatever my opponent just got. Birdie. So the goal going in was to get a birdie. We got a birdie. So now we're in a shootout. We went for it though. We gave ourselves an option, a look at it. We both got big balls. For the shootout, most of the shootouts are better served with a power 0, power 1, sometimes a power 2. But sometimes in a power 3 ball, your red lines are different and you have to come at it a different way. Man, these headwinds are brutal. I want to get out here far enough that I don't have to involve that sand to do the wind adjustment. Eight, 9. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to move it some just for that's how far downhill it is. I'm trying to get used to this grid. So there's ways that I can move on these winds that are much higher like this, or there's ways that I can move the ball so that I only have to make one move. So I have to get used to where to put the clubs on the grid. I may need to lengthen that grid out and set it up so it goes all the way across the page. With the way it's set up right now in my curl grid, which is this grid down here at the bottom, my curl grid, when the ball is in full curl, so if you have a rock, which is a full curl club, the inside of the ball is right up against that. So the entire ball is on the outside of that. So you can count from the center out. And then if you find that there is a shot that you absolutely have to, and there's some shots in this game you have to put curl on it. There are some shootouts in this game that you have to put curl on them, or you have to put curl to get to the cup on a par 4 or one of those big par 5s. There's shots that you have to put curl on. As much as you don't want to, you have to. And you could standardize that by putting ticks on that curl line. So you could go to the green tick, and the green tick is for that particular hole. You could set your grids up like that. So if you had 9 holes that you were playing and you have a grid, and I'm not sure how it works with the other grids, but this grid here is Material Q, that if you could go in there and you could set up so you could label it on your sheet. You could look over there at your sheet and see that it's like if you needed to put curl on there, you would know. Because sometimes normally you wouldn't if you had a bigger ball. But with a Marlin, you may have to put a little bit of curl to get it over to the cup. With the bigger ball, you have more side spin and even 2 side spins. So like a lot of people poo-poo off the Quasar and stuff. That 2 side spin is a ton of side spin. I mean, the whole reason that I don't ever play with a white ball and then I play with a Marlin is because I like that little bit of curl. Every shot, almost every shot, except for the ones going into the cup, but there's shots out and about. There's always curl on them. All right, I like this hole. I don't need a big ball on this hole. And I'm not going to play the tournament route on this hole. I'm not going to demo for these people. I like playing this shot, so I'm more than happy to come out here and get their cash flow during tournament week on this particular hole. And it doesn't matter where you hit that. It doesn't matter if you hit that good or not. You can hit it good to the right or the left, and it'll end up right out there in the middle because it's a big curl shot. And so its original landing spot's off to the left or the right, but it's still going to go right out there where you want it. And you gave so much room. It has so much curl to the right. and you gave it so much room to the right, because I mean, I was way off to the left, that when it hit, and it's going to go to the right. I mean, side spin, curl, everything's telling it to go to the right, and it's got a lot of all of it on it. There's hardly any way you can not end up not in the fairway. And sometimes when you go first, you'll entice your opponent to go the same way because they won't think about it, or they won't remember what the hole is. And we can trick them because the second shot's actually the hard shot. And I got to remember how my top spin here. I keep ending up off the green. I can pitch it on and get the eagle, but I want to try and land on, because you don't want to roll off the back because of that sand. So I'm never really too upset when I don't. I think I need some topspin. I've been putting some backspin on. I need like 3 topspin. Hey, where's the transitional area? It'll be 3 rings off of that transitional area because I'm doing a ton of curl. It's 2 per ring, so there's 2, 4, 6. So I'm about 2.5 rings into power. I'm gonna put max curl on it, and I'm gonna put some overpower to fight that wind. Hit it 1 ring great to the right, which will not matter because I left 3 rings of room down there. I left all kinds of error room, and just weave it around those trees. Give yourself a nice little chip. And guess what? There are shots when you're out here practicing that you really want to practice. And if you don't make them, your opponent needed to go to a shootout. And so these short little chips right here are great shots to practice. And on a hole like this right here, during tournament week, this is a hole right here that when you get on it, you know how to play this hole on the other side. You need to bring out a kingmaker. You need to bring out a really accurate club. And you only need to take that shot a few times and you'll get used to it and everything's hunky-dory. But this shot over here is a money-making shot. You just have to learn how to play your big dog. I have no clue where that ball is going to go when it comes around that corner. Sometimes it's on, and sometimes, more than likely, it's right where it is right now. And I'm okay with that. 0 chance for an Albie. And I have I have this shot for eagle. So that's a pretty good shot. If you come the other way and you miss the Albie, you'll have a putt for eagle. But if you go the other way and you miss the drive going for Albie, you may end up with birdie. And you take eagle completely out of play. You have a 2-stroke swing. That's why on par 5s, man, you can't afford to have a 2-stroke swing, especially on a par 5 that is an albiable hole. You can't afford to go in there with the best of intentions to get an albie and then end up getting a birdie, because you'll never make 2 strokes up. That off-roader gets really good. A month or 2 ago, my teammate Mike Day and I were looking at rough irons, and that off-roader, I'm definitely dumping cards into my off-roader. Pretty much working exclusively on epics, unless the epic is really bad. And I've got a couple of the rares that I don't use a lot that are some of the lower level ones, the Apache and stuff, that are getting close. When they get within 100, I'm dumping some points in them to try and get them out of the loop. Come on, Mr. Expert. And the only way you're going to get expert with 1,494 trophies is if you're playing. They played immediately up to like Tour 8, Tour 9, or Masters. They played immediately up to Tour 8, Tour 9, and started playing so that they could get more stuff in each chest, build up their bankroll. If you know how to play, you can go up really quick. The deal is, I think if you're trying to make a practice account, you may want to go up really quick so that you can try and work on your clubs, but it's a grind. It takes a while to get clubs, man. That's just the deal. Some people have played longer. You can't accelerate that process though. I mean, there's no denying it. So if you're buying packs, you're getting chests that are in those packs. You're getting a Tour 8 King chest or a Platinum chest, or you're getting some chests when you buy those packs. Even when you buy the $5 pack, you get a chest. You get a chest, some coins, and the coin thing is the one variable. So like when you're lower level, I want to bring out the stuff that I'm going to play in the tournament on this. I'm going to play with an extra mile. I'm going to play with the Titan, the King of Balls. It's right at the red line. 2, 4, 6, 8. How many rings is that? It's about 2 rings into power. Hitting it perfect. See if I put enough overpower on there to make up for the 2 rings I was off. El Perfecto! And that's pretty much exactly the same spot we're going to end up in rookie. And there's a fine line between being up the hill to the perfect spot and being way too far. Because when it gets up to the top and it crests that hill, it's trying to push its way over the top of that hill. When it gets to the crest on the other side, it's just as steep, and so it falls off. So if it has any speed at all when it crests the hill, it'll immediately fall off the other side. My opponent bought a Kingmaker. Kingmaker would be a great ball for this. Cut that wind down, that headwind down. So I'm going to pull back so I can adjust this wind out. Put up with that crap on the front. And it runs out farther than it looks. Like if you follow your ball guide over all the way over there, it'll run out farther than that. Seven, 5. Hitting it perfect. We'll see how close I get. Now, so my ball guide said I was going to end a little short, and it wasn't going to quite get on. My ball guide was not lying to me. So if you don't have your ball guide on the green, you may not make it to the green. So the next time I come here, I'm going to run my ball guide up on the green and see like how it responds if my ball guide's just barely on the green. Like, does it just get to the green and stop? Because there's a big ass hill there. This whole green is on a hill. It doesn't look like it here. It looks flat, but it is far from flat. That's what's so funny about this picture right here. It looks like it's absolutely flat. Like it's just this nice little green coming up there. But when you look at it from the side right there, and as we come up to it, really look at the topography on how the green is shaped. Because it is not flat. I don't mind these chip-ons. This is why you practice those chip-ons on those other holes. So that when you get on a hole like this and you go, you know what? I don't like that putt either. I'll just chip that sucker on. I feel in some cases that I have a much better shot chipping it than putting. In many cases. But this is one of those holes that has that kind of drop. So you can't do the whole topspin deal. You got to come at it. You got to come at it with a little bit of finesse. Let's see if I can get it in there. At this distance, there's 4, there's 6, 5. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I got my wind adjustment right. In the hole. In the hole. That's what gets me about the people that talk crap about the rapier. Being a rapier fan myself, and those people obviously being Endbringer fans, because I mean, there's only 2 camps. I mean, is there another one out there? So those being the 2 what now, You may be an epic, but I'm on tour 7 rare. I mean, come on, man. I can do backspin, side spin, curl, top spin, accuracy, power. I can do pretty much. I mean, like, what is it that we're lacking? That Inbringer's a one-trick pony until it gets to like level 7, and then it finally gets enough topspin that it actually becomes a usable club, in my opinion. So for all of you out there that are Inbringer fans, hey, we can agree to disagree. We can get along, man. We're just like Pats fans. I've made no bones about it. I'm a Patriots fan. To be honest with you, I'm a Miami Dolphins, Patriots, Pittsburgh fan. And then I will always root for the AFC. So like everybody else that's in the AFC is just they're just a team. They're just a team in the AFC. I'll root for them if they're in the Super Bowl, but I'm only truly like my heart's in it when it's Miami, the Patriots, Pittsburgh. And so I am a Pats fan. I freely admit it. What's good is I've got backup. I've got a teammate who's a Pats fan. Patriots #1. See how long we got on this video. Let's not run out of time again. Trump is America. Let's talk Golf Clash. All right, we're on the sniper hole. I like this hole because I find a lot of my opponents end up in the water. At least 10 or 20% end up in the water. And then another good 10 or 20% don't get on it too because they got behind the trees. And that leaves about 60% that actually get over there somewhere where they can scramble and get up on it. Maybe really only 50% because there's another 10% that fail and end up in the crap on the other side. They end up in the rough, they overshot it. So about 50% win out will force a shootout. And the other 50% will lose right here if you just do this shot. A sniper with a little bit of backspin. This is like putting salt and pepper on eggs or something, right? Take out the wind. 100% accurate club. And it doesn't matter in that spot if you hit it great to the left, to the right, or 2 rings great to the left, to the right. It's going to go right down the middle of the fairway and end up out there, and you're going to have a sniper into the hole. So it's sniper. And it doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing, unless you've got something that's probably over like 10 miles an hour, you'll still be able to work the wind out. Even with a Marlin. So I'm not sure where the red lines will be with a Titan. Because I don't hit to that spot with a Titan. I try and get over to the other side when I'm playing, and I should have just brought a Marlin. What was I thinking? I wasted a Titan. Isn't that a crime? If I was doing a Hammer and Hanks thing, I'd have to take a shot right now because I wasted a ball. There's max. There's min. So I'm right at min club. So it's about 1.5 per ring at min. So there's 3. There's 6. 7, 5. I'm going to overpull it just a little. And I was off on the wind. I was way the hell off. As far as direction. I was trying to, instead of pull it out, I was trying to push it out. Look at all those moguls. That's why doing the chip up shot, you'll see some people get on this hole and they'll work really hard to hit right on the other side of that because they have a chip over there with a short iron or a wedge. And the deal is that yes, you have a very nice chip, but you have a very, very hilly, unflat area that you're hitting into. That shot with even with the sniper right there at the very end, there's a little mogul right in front of the cup. This is another very hole-in-oneable par 4. There is a shot that you can get up here with a bigger power ball. You can use a Titan. But you can do it with a big power ball and you don't have to do any overpower. And so you have a much higher likelihood that you'll get it done. See how hard that putt was? That's how hard. If you end up on the green on the left-hand side and you've got a putt to the cup, your putt looks a lot worse than that because you got multiple things. You're literally, it looks like a snake trail. Ideally, you do not want to come at that hole from the left. I like this hole. This hole has been totally redesigned. Totally redesigned. Like this hole is not even like the deal is this hole is the same, but there's some stuff that got changed on it. They feed that sucker right to the cup. 2.9. Sniper. There's 2.9. A little. Isn't it perfect? So they changed this tree right here. It did not used to lean that direction. It leaned the other way. Oh, that was funny. Overpulled it. So they've changed where the tree's at. The tree used to lean over this fairway and it used to cast a shadow over this fairway, and it doesn't do it anymore. And when they changed that, I used one of the leaf shadows as my marker. And so it changed that. And so I always used to come at that hole on the right hand side, and you put on about 2 backspin somewhere in that neighborhood, and you have to use a bunch of curl. And you'll have to play with it to find out like where it works with your club, but it takes very little. You have to put a little bit of backspin on there. You need to get control of the ball so that when it makes that first hit, if you've got any kind of side movement to the left or the right and you have backspin on, when it gets backspin and side spin are not represented in your ball guide, so they don't happen. That's funnier than hell. Good game. See if they'll replay. See if we can put the Kings of Golf up against Trump as America. They didn't want any action. All right, we're on a new hole. I forgot what I was talking about. Playing. I'm just like you. I'm trying to get better at the game. And I have a process for myself. And so the whole deal is I'm just trying to, when I'm out here like this, I'm just trying to make sure that I can always get the minimum score, okay? With these big ass headwinds, we're not going to get this in the tournament. So I would demo how we play it in the tournament, but these winds aren't conducive. It's 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm just taking the side wind out. It'll snap back down there, so I took the side wind out. There's nothing I can do about the headwind. I just have to deal with it. So last time I was here, I was in almost exactly the same spot, and I hit a 3-ring good on the inside, and I was in the middle of the fairway. Here I hit a 2-ring great on the outside, on the left, and I'm right down there in the middle of the fairway. The last time I was right there on the edge of that shadow, on the outside edge of that shadow here. So you're going to land in that range right there. That's the distance that you can achieve on that. And you have to hit it way bad in order not to get out into that area. So I'm encouraged that my opponent's coming over here. They've got a baseball, so they have a power 3 ball, which is what they want. They've got a low wind ball, which is what they want. But they're going out with an extra mile. So that's the only risk they're taking there. They could have pulled out their rocker, their QB, and taken that same shot and not had to do any overpower. When you're doing those pure layup shots, you have to forego anything that you have in your brain as far as like distance stuff. Like, hey, we're not looking for distance here. When you get on a hole and you go, wow, man, if I brought a power 5 ball, I wouldn't be able to hit to the end of that fairway. Then that's probably a power hole. But when you get on that hole and you go, man, if I could end up in that spot, that would be an awesome shot. That's probably a hole for some finesse. Usually that means a more accurate club. I'm going to try and get closer. 3-5. And there's 4, so there's about a 3-5. About a ring and 2/3. Max curl. Hit it 1 ring grade on the outside. 2 rings grade on the outside. Somewhere on the outside. And that one topspin that I added on there, well, last time we were on this hole, I had a headwind. That one topspin I added on there was a lot. So I had 3 the last time, and I added 1, and I think I did that shot right there with 4. So somewhere between like 3 and 4 topspin is where I want to work. Where I'd like to be is, if anything else, I'm short. And then I can really start to work it to try and get like right at it. But you have to work that number. And the consistent spot on that shot is to be 3 rings off the transitional surface at the red line. So if you have a headwind, you'll have to move it to the left in order to counter that crosswind, and you'll just have to deal with it, and you'll be farther out. So you'll probably want to use backspin, because backspin and side spin don't affect the ball until it touches the ground the very first time. And when it touches the ground the very first time, up to that point in the shot, nothing in your ball guide is going to be affected. Like when you add on side spin it and it shows like the tail of the ball being affected, and you don't see the stuff at the beginning. And I hit that 700 ring straight, so I may not go in. I was close enough. Let's see what Seymour Putts. Seymour Putts. Let's check him out. Newer player. 1 tournament. 694 games. This is that thing where who you play in one-on-one versus who you play in tournaments is totally different. So this person here could be a newer player, somebody an experienced player, and they're playing up to Tour 7 because this is where they can get practice. They can come here and play with Marlins and just play around. You can go out on these holes with a Titan. If you've got a big Titan inventory, you can go out on these holes and just play with the Titan, so you can get the feel of what it feels like to play these holes. Because with a Titan, even though in Tour 7 you can play with a Marlin, with a Titan, you can make up the difference, and you'll end up in almost exactly the same spot that you would end up in if you were playing from rookie. So the second shot's really not any different. Backspin. Six, 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. And then 20% of that's 13. So I'm going to go a ways over. I'm going to make a big wind adjustment here. I tried to do that different than I normally do, and I didn't like how I had to do that. I didn't like that equation in math in my head. You do not want to be in that spot. I will tell you in the tournament right there, if you miss this rough bump, and the rough bump is the way I'm going to go at it, and I have to practice it from the pro tees. You wouldn't come there with a big dog to start off with. You want to play this hole with a guardian. So like in the tournament, if you're playing from the pro tees, you want to make sure that you bring a guardian, and whatever ball I had right there, I was within red line there. I didn't check to see where my red lines were. I had plenty of movement to take the wind out. And normally on this hole, it'll just have to depend on which way the wind's blowing, like where you have to do your adjustment. They could make this hole very frustrating and make it so you have to adjust over that sand. Because where you're hitting, if you're doing that rough up here at the front, you may have to, if you were going up the hill, you may have to adjust over the hill. It's got a huge wind adjustment. One tournament, this was in a tournament, and the wind adjustment was plus 40%. And then the next tournament, the wind changed and it was plus 20. But there is a big wind adjustment that needs to be done here. That right there is a very common way to play it, to try and come around the corner. This hole used to be, or I think it still is, in Tour 9. And in Tour 9, when it was there before, I always came around the bottom. I would like to have won that hole. Come on, man. I like that hole. What a bummer. Let's see. Do I have any more? Can I play any more? I can play 49. That's 49 minutes. So I'll end this video and then I'll fire up another one and I will play. As soon as my pin chest comes up, I'll play my pin chest. We're playing out here with the sharks that are out in the deal. So 6 hours. We'll let one of these gold chests percolate since I've been just traveling along. We'll see what my club card trading was for the day. I got 2 clubs the other day. I got 1 club, my Nirvana to level 8, and I got my Rapier to level 8 in the same day. I had to do the prism chest for the Rapier, and I won. I was trying to hold off on both of them, and the day before I got the Nirvana, and I held off on it. So I got to take the Apocalypse every time I get it, because I'm trying to get it to level 5. And the only way I'm going to get it to level 5 is to pick 3 every time it's in here. And I actually got an Apocalypse card the other day, which was pretty rare. I've only gotten a few. Before the club card trading came out, my Apocalypse was, I think I'd finally got it to level 2, but it was like a low level 2. It was like I only had like 1 or 2 working towards level 3. It was gonna be forever. All right, that was it. That was some club card trading. Just a little bit of gameplay. Just a little bit of just sitting here, chilling out at home, cleaning the house, doing stuff, trying to be a good citizen and staying at home, trying not to spread the coronavirus. The numbers are staggering. So, I mean, I know for a lot of people, especially for the people that are in the United States, it doesn't seem like the deal, but the numbers are going up 20% every day. So if you look at like how many worldwide, the America being America, who we are, we always want to be number 1. We always want to hit a home run. Baseball, right? We always want to hit a home run. The deal is that we went from number 3 in the world as far as countries that had people who were sick, and China was number 1. They'd been holding steady at about 80,000, and then Italy was number 2, and then the U.S. The U.S. is now has more people that have been tested that have the coronavirus than any other country out there. So the numbers are going up 20% per day, and the numbers today will probably be somewhere in the 15 to 18,000, like just new reported cases today. And then tomorrow that number will go up by 20%. So if it's 15,000, it'll be 18,000 tomorrow, and if it's 18,000 a day, it's going to be 18,000 plus 3,600. So it'll be 21.6, and it's going up fast. So once it gets to a certain point, the number of people every day is a staggering number. And so I'm just trying to do my civic thing by just staying at home for a few days and letting it do its pass and see if we can get a dip. If we don't get a dip, then we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. But so I'm at home and I will be posting. I'll just post as I play. If anybody gets tired of it, just put a note on there and say, hey, we're tired of this crap. Maybe it's background noise too. All right. Thanks for watching.